Grandpa's Magic Couch. Hi, my name is Mark Boersma, or Grandpa Boersma to my grandkids, and I am so excited to share this one because this is a brand new natural law that Grandpa just discovered. It's like, oh my gracious, we get to all learn it together. It's the coolest thing on the planet. It's called the blackout principle. Why do people go silent? Like, right? Like all of a sudden. So Lily, like, she's almost 3 years old, and her Aunt Melissa, or Aunt Missy, when it had, or Aunt Lissy, I'm not sure which one it is, she said, Lily, it's rude to interrupt people or not to respond to them or something like that. And I thought, ooh, I love that. And I thought, there's a lot of people in my life that are like, they just go silent on me. And I don't understand it. Like Lily says, I don't know, Grandpa. And so it's a blackout principle. It's one of the 500 plus natural laws. If someone we're talking to, would it be rude, uncaring, or mean to just not respond or shut down communications? Like, I'm just not going to talk to you. I'm just not going to talk to you anymore. Well, it seems like there's a certain amount of emotional intelligence or bandwidth or a dimension that people have. And when they get beyond that bandwidth dimension or emotional intelligence level, they just shut down. And I was thinking about, well, how does this happen? Like, what's going on here? Like, I'm having an email conversation with somebody and they just stop talking. Like, they just don't reply. And I think, well, that's kind of strange. Like, why would they just stop replying? And then Grandpa's Magic Couch, I was ruminating on this. I was noodling on this on Grandpa's Magic Couch, and all of a sudden it hit me. I'm like, I think I understand it. And it's it's part of the DNA for life, the natural laws. It's a more advanced natural law. Some would call it a supernatural law because there's multiple laws that connect it in. So we have to understand the next dimension principle. So what's higher, a 2 or a 9? Most people say, a 9's higher because we think in one dimension. But when we look at, a 10, once we get to a 10, we move to the next dimension. And a 9 in the previous dimension is higher than a 2 in the next dimension. So I'm not sure. Yeah, there it is. So once we hit a 10, we move to the next dimension. And so we need to understand the next dimension to understand the blackout principle. So I was talking to my youngest brother, and he says, Mark, he doesn't call me Grandpa, kids, because I'm his brother. So he says, Mark, when I read your emails, it's like I black out. And, kids, boys, we went ahead and watched the Ford versus Ferrari. Oh, I was going to put that on here. Oh, I missed that. And it's like when that guy was racing in that really fast car, and that one other guy said, this is when the uninitiated might soil their pants. Like, they're going so fast. Like, the G-forces are like, they're going so fast that they just pass out. And that's what happens in the next dimension principle when you're going and moving, you're making a breakthrough. And so when you're making a jump from one dimension emotionally to the next, there's a gap. And so Chuck Yeager, he's the first man that broke the sound barrier. And people asked me, somebody said, Mark, do you understand that story? And I said, no, I don't. And he said, well, what happened is a lot of people went ahead and number of pilots had the opportunity to break the sound barrier. But what happened is when they got close to the sound barrier, his plane started to shake. And they got scared, obviously, because nobody's ever done this. If it's shaking this much, once we break the sound barrier, we go faster than sound. The whole plane's going to disintegrate. I don't want to die. So I don't die. And so, but what Chuck Yeager did is he trusted the integrity of the system. So he trusted the integrity of the system. And he punched it through. And once he punched it through, everything became calm. And the pilot, Stan Lambert, that shared this story with me, he said, do you know why? And I said, I don't. He said, because when you're going slower, all the resistance is at the tip of the plane, but when you're going that fast, the resistance goes to the back of the plane, which is why you see that little cloud around it. And so you make a breakthrough. And so this is in going relationships. When we zoom in on a breakthrough moment, we see that there is a gap between the dimension we are in and the next dimension, or the new. We also see that there is not a gap in sliding down or even going into the previous dimension. So this makes sense where it's far easier to try to stay where we are rather than having the faith and moving and making the jump to the next dimension. And so when we look at it, what moves us forward, faith, see, understand, do, humility, great stewardship, contentment, self-discipline, perspective, strong life vision. What holds us back is fear. We do not see. We lack understanding, do not do, pride, poor stewardship, lust of the eyes, lust of the flesh, low morale, lukewarm. And so if we maintain all the things we had in moving up, in theory, we would never have to move down. And do not lose the best when we are going up, and we won't go down. And so you got to trust the integrity of the system. And so the blackout moment is when I take somebody emotionally beyond what they've ever been taken before. They'll often black out. So in the Q&A, we'll talk more about this. If you're not part of EC2, what are you waiting for? Like, get part of EC2, because that's where all this stuff comes together. You can connect and collaborate and all kinds of cool things. And always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. Love you, kids. Love you all, you grandkids. Even if you're not my grandchildren, love you all. There's so many cool things out there in the world. And emotional intelligence, like if you struggle in school, I struggled in school. So there's emotional intelligence, there's relational intelligence, moral intelligence, spiritual intelligence, there's educational intelligence. There's so many. And every person on the world has multiple types of intelligences. So you're really smart. You might not be smart in one intelligence, and it's okay. You can learn how to do that. But always remember, we can accomplish so much more together than we ever could on our own. God bless and have an amazing day. Bye-bye.